What the hell? Something happened. Test 1 2 test. Am I live? Test 1 2 test. All right. I got this really weird like thing popped up. It says I can't see the chat. Is the chat up? What's up, everybody? I can't. It's not coming through on my side. Bumpy start. What's up, fam? Can you guys hear me? Yes or no? Yes. Is everybody on? Yes or no? Oh my goodness. I can't see anybody in the chat.
That was wild. All right, refresh the...
I am refreshing the chat. It says chat is disabled for this live stream. Why? Why is everybody why is it? Why you got to be so rude? Don't you know I want to see the playoffs too? All right, let's do it. Fam, what's up? Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here. Good evening and welcome to tonight's playoff show. Playoffs. Tonight is Tuesday. It is November 26th. I appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for rocking with me today right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Today, this morning show was hot. It was fire. I appreciate you guys diving into the show this morning. And tonight, how it's going to work is the playoffs aren't going to be released till 7. And again, these are all make-believe rankings before the actual rankings, which will be completed during the next ranking cycle. So tonight, I'll give you basically an idea. So this is how the show is going to work. We are going to talk about the rankings as ESPN has them. We're going to showcase you a graphic on the screen. And we're going to talk about some hypotheticals. I'll probably even take some calls. So that's what's in store for tonight's playoff show. All right. So the playoffs are not out. If you want to pop in again when the playoffs are out, they should come out around 7. Now, because it's on ESPN and ESPN has live sporting events, and I know the Alabama Crimson Tide basketball team plays at 7, there's a lot of moving parts tonight. So we'll bring you the coverage as it comes in. But again, if you want to watch the rankings yourself and dive back in, feel free to do so. That is on ESPN at 7. All right. So a couple things that we touched on today was the first topic. That was hot. And I think we all came to the consensus that it makes absolutely no sense to go with a different quarterback at this point in time for the season. If there was to be a change at quarterback, that should have taken place somewhere during the middle point of the season. You're already too far along to change things up. Sticking with Milroe, right? And I think at this point in time, he gives you the best opportunity to beat Auburn. We went a long time talking about the differences on that. Did you see Ty Simpson today? In an interview with the Crimson Tide Sports Network, Ty Simpson said that he wants to come back here and coach. He said he wants to be a future coach for the Alabama Crimson Tide and be the successor of Coach Kalen DeBoer. So, are people saying the chat's not working?
Someone said it wasn't for them and they had to leave.
Is the chat working for everybody? Could everybody type like Roll Tide? Because I even ran into issues on my side. So can you see if the chat is working? Just type something inside the comment box, as many people as possible. But Ty said that, he'd like to come back and be a coach here at the University of Alabama and be the successor of Coach Kalen DeBoer when he retires. This isn't surprising to hear that he wants to be a coach. I mean, his father is a coach at UT Martin, right? And I think that, he probably wants to be a coach. I'm sure there's a lot of people that want to be a coach that are currently on the staff, like, down the road or whatever. So a lot of people are saying that, because I was even having trouble typing in the comment box of my own stuff.
So apparently if your chat isn't working, you need to leave the live and come back or just refresh the live.
So if your chat isn't working, leave the live and then come back in. Knock on the door, we'll let you in. The passcode is Lonergan. You got to spell it right, though. That's the password to get back in. Next year's starting quarterback. Just kidding. Just kidding. Jeez. People flying off the handle. So, the playoffs, like I said, will be released at 7, these new rankings, okay? So when they come in, we'll put the graphic on and we'll get mad because they'll be either 12. You know what? We're going to be mad either way, so get ready. Think about it. We're going to be mad that we're in or mad that we're not in. You see what I'm saying? Patriot Life, yes, we can see you, man. Patriot Life's always supporting. Appreciate you, bro. But Ty Simpson, in a great interview that you can watch on the Crimson Tide Sports Network, I think with Roger Hoover, who does the Crimson Tide Sports Network. They have an interview, and they're talking just, general stuff. And he says that hopefully he can be the starting quarterback next year. T, can we put up a poll?
Mm-hmm.
Let's put the poll. I mean, we've asked this poll many times, but fresh day, fresh take. Who will be the starting quarterback next year? Ty Simpson, Dylan Lonergan, Austin Mack, Keelan Russell. We talked about these playoff rankings that are coming up. And what I want to showcase on this graphic, and this is by bballhoop or nothing.net. The teams highlighted in red are the teams that should make the playoffs, or I'm sorry, that should win, right? That are favored to win. And if these teams do win, it calculates Alabama to be number 4 in the SEC. Now, I don't know if all these teams will win right here. The one that kind of makes me a little bit nervous, besides the Alabama-Auburn one, I guess is Missouri and Arkansas. I don't think it matters that much depending on what happens with that one. Alabama still going to fall in line. Vandy, Tennessee, you got to think that Tennessee wins that one. Now, the game is in Nash Vegas, so who knows. And then Texas A&M and Texas. Could Texas A&M beat Texas? Sure, why not? Everybody's beat everybody right now. What does the poll say, T?
51% think Ty Simpson.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, he's the heavy favorite.
And then Keelan Russell is 23%. Austin Mack, 19%.
Damn, that dude just hit a nice 3. The Maui Invitational is on right now. You have Memphis taking on Michigan State. And Alabama, of course, plays at 7 against Houston. That is an Elite 8 matchup, 100%. So if this all works out, right, you have all these teams that are highlighted in red. If they win, it kicks out Alabama to the number 4 spot. And if they are at the number 4 spot in the SEC, I think what it comes down to is the number 4 in the SEC versus the number 2 in the ACC. That's just how I have it. I think it comes down to, and that way, SMU has already punched their ticket to play in the ACC championship. We're waiting on Miami right now. If Miami takes care of business and they beat Syracuse, which isn't a given, then you have SMU and Miami playing in the ACC championship game. I have no idea who will win that game. SMU's pretty good. And Miami, I think they're sus, but their quarterback's a talent. So let's just say Miami wins that game. SMU has 2 losses. Alabama has 3. Who does the committee take for one of the final spots in the bracket? That's why we think that Alabama has an opportunity to still make the playoffs. Now, the other scenario is that Miami loses, and it would be SMU and Clemson in the ACC championship game. Do the thing, right? So it would be Clemson or SMU versus Alabama. That's how I honestly think that it's going to shake out. Now, of course, we were all here last Tuesday, and we thought, here we are. Alabama is going to win the SEC championship. Alabama didn't even score a touchdown in Oklahoma. So, hey, Jawan, are we sure on that? I thought it was SMU that clinched. Let's see what happens. Maybe I'm wrong on that because I thought that it was SMU that already clinched. Yeah, the way I have it, if Miami wins, because SMU hasn't lost in ACC play. And I think Miami would have to lose to Syracuse for it to be SMU and Clemson. I'm pretty sure I'm right on that. Here are these make-believe predictions on ESPN. You can find this right now. And, on your free time, you could just type in ESPN playoff predictor, and this is what pops up. Again, we're about 15 minutes away. I would probably say like 20 minutes away. So if you're having dinner or you're eating some Fujiyama, does anybody know what Fujiyama is? Do you guys have this in your area?
Chain.
Is Fujiyama no, it's not a local spot.
I think it is, yeah.
Fujiyama
I don't think it's a chain.
Fujiyama, how would you explain Fujiyama, T?
It's like a hibachi without the hibachi.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. It's hibachi.
It's a Japanese restaurant without the,
yeah.
They don't cook in front of you.
So if you're going to go eat your hibachi without the hibachi, then come back at 7 or whatever, and we'll kick it with you guys. You know what? Roland inside the comment box is saying, "Hey Kyle, I think Miami gets upset." I'm not mad at that. I could completely see that happening. The only thing that made me a little bit nervous is that Kyle McCord threw 10 interceptions against Pittsburgh. But other than that, I mean, each quarterback has thrown for over 3,000 yards, right? Starting lineup for Alabama basketball versus Houston, according to Tony Tsoukalis, reads like this: LeBaron Philon, Mark Sears, Latrell Wrightsell, Grant Nelson, and Cliff Amori. That's a nice lineup tonight against Houston. Game is at 7 p.m. So if you're interested to watch the basketball game, have us on the sidebar, come back. It's no stress. No stress Tuesday. The Big Ten's going to get their teams in. I mean, all these teams had opportunities to jump Alabama to get into the playoff mix, and they all lost as well. Indiana's in if they beat Purdue. Notre Dame's in because they don't have a conference. Boise State, they have to make it group of 5. Arizona State, you got to think, I don't know who wins the Big 12. There's a lot of different teams that could win the Big 12 right now. Iowa State, Arizona State, BYU. Lakers play the Suns. That's what's up. South Carolina, that's a really good team right now. Just kind of peaked at the wrong time. That's how things go sometimes. If you punch in that Alabama beats Auburn on ESPN's playoff predictor, this is what it spits out. In this simulated model, it has Alabama actually as the number 11 seed here at the bottom right with a 41% chance to make the playoffs. They would be on the road in this scenario, and this is how fake this model is because it has Penn State actually winning the championship. And I ran this model twice because I was like, damn it, they're going to get mad that it said Penn State. But it did it again, so I was like, oh, well, here it is. So in this scenario, Alabama would be the 11th seed playing on the road against Penn State. The winner would play Georgia, right, in the New Year's 6 game. On the top side, it would be Notre Dame as a 7 taking on South Carolina. Wow. And then Miami and Notre Dame. So this model is really, really wild. I think South Carolina probably beat Notre Dame, and they probably beat Miami. Who knows? South Carolina may win the championship in this model. Yeah, hell yeah. Or at least, South Carolina and Georgia on that side. On the other side, Indiana, Tennessee, you got the Tennessee wins. Tennessee and Ohio State, Tennessee just doesn't have the offense. They run the ball really well, but they can't pass. So it would be Ohio State and Oregon again for like the 3rd time this year. So who knows? We'll find out more tonight, and we'll put up the bracket, and we'll look at it with you guys. How are you guys feeling right now? You can put up a new poll, T. And let's put it like this. Cap Collar's like, nobody give an AF about the NBA right now. You know, it was weird. I turned on the ESPN the other day, and they were playing like this NBA Cup. So they've added like these preseason cups. Can you put a poll up that reads like this? Yeah, right. CLP, that bracket was dumb. I agree. Can you put this poll up? Will Alabama be in the playoff in the top 12? Not rankings, like actually in the bracket. So I don't know how you want to word that. Will Alabama be seeded in the top 12 tonight? Yes or no? Because you know what's confusing about this, and I think even ESPN is struggling how to broadcast this, is how do we show this to our viewers? Because you have your rankings.
They don't even need to do the rankings. The rankings are ridiculous and confusing. They just
They should. I know what they should do is they should use the rankings for the playoff bracket.
Yeah, exactly. The rankings should be.
I know. Yeah, but they're trying to make the conferences happy.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's good. This is good. This is this is just Coke Zero with ice. This is solid. Did we post that poll? And people are saying no. Okay. A lot of people saying no. So here we are as a bubble team at 8-3, right? 3-1 versus the top 25. And how I look at the top 25 is, and this would be an interesting question from the seeding committee, like how they look at top 25 teams. I think this is how they look at it. How, like where these teams were when Alabama played them. That's how I'm looking at it, right? So what I do is I go to ESPN schedule, for example, and it lists the teams. Like when they played Georgia, for example, Georgia was number 2. See what I'm saying? So they're 3-1 versus top 25, but the 2 losses against unranked teams is a terrible stat. But all these other teams, the rankings aren't ESPN, Roll Tide props, when they come out. I would imagine it'd probably be at the halftime of this Memphis-Michigan State game. So it'll be some time. So you have time to go do whatever you need, and then when it comes on, you can watch it. We'll chit-chat about it. But all these other teams that you could say this to Alabama, you could be like, well, you lost to 2 unranked teams. Well, so did everybody else. Everybody else that's on the bubble, they also lost to unranked teams. So I don't know. Plus, let's face it. The bottom line for all of this, if it comes down to it, is money. How can ESPN and the TV networks make the most amount of money? And it's not by and it's not by SMU and Notre Dame playing. The basketball game right here is on TBS. So TBS right here is the game at 7. I know there's a lot of moving parts. You got the playoff show at 7. We're talking playoffs. We're talking football. The basketball game is taking place on TBS right now at 7. They're playing Houston. I would recommend you watch that game and enjoy yourself because that game is going to be fantastic. Here are the teams side by side. We'll preview this game for the next few minutes, and then we'll jump back to what we were talking about with Alabama being a playoff team. Alabama basketball taking on Houston. This is a battle of 2 top 10 teams. Alabama's number 9, Houston's number 6. Houston's coach, Nate Oates, 2 of the best that there is. They've gone head-to-head a couple times. MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. As you can see, the leading scorer at this point in time is Grant Nelson. The leading rebounder is Cliff Amore, and he has been a welcome addition to this team. LeBaron Philon, the super freshman, is averaging 5.2 assists. Nate Oates, of course, has a beautiful record in his 6th year at Alabama, 121-55. T, can you read out that Tony Sukal just posted the starting 5 for tonight? This is what it's looked like. I thought I had, I must not have added the graphic, but I kind of had a graphic of the starting 5 for this basketball team. They're so deep. They're so unique in terms of if they want a big lineup, if they want guards. LeBaron Philon, Mark Sears, Aiden Holloway, all quality guards along with Wrightsell. This is the year that we have started to see the immersion of Grant Nelson, right? So the game, again, starting off here at 7 p.m. on TBS. Did he post the starting five?
Yeah. He has LeBaron Philon, Mark Sears, Latrell Whitesell, Grant Nelson, and Cliff
It's called Amori. Yeah, Cliff Amori. All right. Yeah, love that lineup. So anyways, basketball team set to tip off. You know, it's on TBS, so a lot of moving parts. Back to the football team being a playoff bubble team, right? A couple concerning things clearly is that they're 1-3 on the road in SEC play, but this is the problem, and I think this is what the committee has to factor in tonight with the Alabama Crimson Tide. And the facts are, how have you played for me lately? And when you're coming off a loss against Oklahoma, I think this really hurts Alabama the way that they played specifically in Norman, because they didn't score a touchdown. They allowed 250 yards of rushing on defense. So they are not playing championship level football. They are not playing playoff level football on each side of the ball. And I think it would be, and I don't know if the committee members will be asked this, but I think an interesting question for the committee would be like, does the fact that Jalen Milroe is not playing championship level football, that he's not playing his best football right now, does that impact Alabama's overall play and Alabama's overall value when you're ranking the 12 best teams that can make the tournament? And I think that's what you have to factor in is how are you playing? How are your big-time players playing? And let's face it, Jalen Milroe is this team's offense. And if he is not playing to the highest standard, then Alabama is not winning football games. And the defense, it is not it right now either. You know, I started looking at a quick comparison between the two teams. I was going to save this for tomorrow, but I'll bring it up tonight. So this is kind of like a sneak peek at tomorrow's show. But I was comparing the teams side by side. So as you see up at the top left, Alabama favored by 11.5. Total offense for Alabama, they're ranked number 41 in the nation. Total offense for Auburn, 31. Total defense for Alabama, 28. Total defense for Auburn, 24. Oklahoma's offense was ranked 23rd. Does that scare you? Oklahoma's was 23rd. Auburn's is 24th. Third down defense, that's where Alabama has the one check mark. Penalties, Alabama's 126th in the nation. Penalties, Auburn is 58. I guess we should turn to this basketball game while we wait, because what's going to happen is that we still have, 6 minutes and 30 seconds. T, if I toss you the remote, could you throw it to TBS? And I don't know where the remote is. I had it. I can't find it. Yeah, it has to be at the halftime break. They can't just be like, we're going to pause your guys' game. So this stat at the bottom is the most concerning, though, right? Is the rush defense. Alabama's is 62. Auburn's is 20th. So these stats right here on the screen, like Alabama's, they're favored by 11.5, and I think home field has a lot to do with it. But I mean, these stats right here on the screen maybe tell you that Auburn will cover. And I think we all know that this game is going to be tight. I would imagine it's definitely closer than 11.5. This is the thing, too, is like when we're talking about the state of the program again, waiting for this to drop, I would imagine it's like 7:15 or something like that. The state of the program, look, Auburn's kind of always chirped, right? I know this stuff like DeMarcus Riddick today talking, or yesterday calling out a 17-year-old. That was kind of weird. He should have called out like Milroe. Or maybe he was asked about Ryan Williams. Maybe that's why he said that. I don't know. Milrose said that he didn't know who DeMarcus Riddick was, which obviously he does because he's watching film, right? But nobody feared, like, so my point is Auburn's always talking. But other programs across the country, they don't fear Alabama anymore. They don't. They don't see Alabama as that same thunderbolt, the scariest team that you're going to play. They don't see, but the thing is teams still give their best to Alabama because the brand is still heavy. I don't know how you reinstill like that fear into opposing teams if you can do that. Is this TBS? Oh, I was like, the game's not on here. All right. Reggie, what's up, man? You got a question inside the comment box. Why are you trying to make Alabama for the playoffs work? If they couldn't show it during the season, then why deserve to be in so they can fizzle out in the playoffs? Truth is, we don't deserve it right now. No, fair point, for sure. And I think it would be much clearer to think. So here's the thing. I personally, like, as of today, I don't think Alabama deserves to be in the playoffs. They don't. After how they played, I mean, look at the crew. The undefeated is saying 75% feel that they're not going to be seated in the top 12. Okay, but this is what we're watching. This is what makes it so entertaining, is the fact that, see, all these teams right here on the right, all these teams lost. So start for under Alabama and look at Ole Miss lost. That's why they might have a shot to be in. Ole Miss lost. BYU lost. Texas A&M lost. Colorado lost. Clemson, they won because they played, I don't know who they played, some like FCS team. Army lost. Do you get what I'm saying? That's why it's so intriguing to see this was like nobody thought that all these teams would lose on the same Saturday. If one of these teams would have won, then they would have been above Alabama. So none of these teams deserve to be in, I guess. Adam, you know what? Did anybody watch the end of that Arizona State game? Arizona State and BYU? Arizona State won the game. The officials put 1 second on the clock. The fans didn't realize that. The fans stormed the field. Arizona State's coach, how old is this guy? Can we look up how old he is? He looks like he's 25 years old. He went to the officials, and he's like, game is over, game is over. They put 1 second back on. BYU throws a Hail Mary. The guy catches it at the 1 yard line, and then the fans restorm the field. How old is he? 34. He's 34.
Kyle Dillingham.
Yeah, his name's Kyle.
Yeah, or Kenny, sorry.
Oh, I was like, what?
I was looking at you and said that, yeah.
Did you see how hilarious that was? So the fans stormed the field not once but twice. And he was pissed off. In the clips they're hilarious.
I want to know how they got him off. Like, how did they get all those people off?
They got the players off, or they got the fans off. But you know whose job it was?
The players.
The players.
I know, they were like, the players had to get the fans off the field, and I was like, wow, imagine that.
So the players made like this kind of circle, and they were like pushing the student. But this was the problem. The students couldn't get back into their seats because they jumped down.
They couldn't climb back up.
So what they had to do was they played the last play, and all the students were on like surrounding. It was chaos. Roll Tide, what's up? He said they should have hired Steve Sarkisian. You know, you're never like Steve Sarkisian going to Texas was the best thing for Texas football. Was the best move for Steve Sarkisian. That was a job that you couldn't turn down. They have unlimited resources. Jumping into the SEC, they have the biggest bank account along with Texas A&M. I'm surprised we don't hear more about them kind of buying players. Speaking of buying players, and we're waiting for these playoffs to jump out. How come we're not watching the TV anymore? Oh, we're like, did you guys see this day? Kadarian, it should be soon. Let's see this Michigan State. I would just put it on the Michigan State Michigan State basketball, yeah. Did you see Dave Portnoy telling the story today? There's 4 minutes until halftime. So Dave Portnoy, right, partnered with a mega millionaire to basically go in and buy Bryce Underwood. Did you see this? This is a true story. This is out today. I saw it. I'm surprised we don't see more of that from like these Texas, millionaires, billionaires. Adam, we're talking basketball because the team is like ranked. They probably win the national championship and make a run at it. The rankings are coming, Aaron. As soon as they come, man, we'll bring them to you. They're going to be at halftime of this Michigan State-Memphis game. If you want to watch Alabama basketball in Houston, that game is on TBS. Yes. And you did have a flip today, too. I'm trying to get to the graphic where we have the young man. Yeah, Jace Calazario flipped. But did you see that Dave Portnoy bought this player with a millionaire? I think she's married to some tech conglomerate, one of like the richest people. And they bought Bryce Underwood for, I don't know, more than $10.5 million. And that's where we're at right now in the world of college football. Yeah, Roll Tide Probs, I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Jawan, what's up, man? The Pony Express, man. Those are that team, man. Those running backs, right? Is that what it is? $12 million for 4 years? Man, wow. So who's gonna come in as a mega millionaire and start buying players for Alabama? I'm sure it's already happening to some extent, right? Like, how are you getting these players? But if this is where we're at, man.
Imagine having $12 million to fund one player.
I know.
That's not like a team. That's one player.
That's one player. Yes, I know. That's why people are worried about what's up, Jawan? I appreciate you being here. And that's why people are worried about Ty Haywood.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, Auburn has the Apple guy, but Auburn also has Yellowwood, right? Isn't Yellowwood?
He might have more money.
Is he
than the Apple guy.
Yeah, he's a billionaire.
He's I think the only.
He's the only
in Alabama.
Yes, Oracle. Thank you, Lance. That's who it is. Larry. Yeah, so Larry Ellison, his wife is the Michigan grad, and she's the one that got with Portnoy, and they were like, hey, and she straight up told him, she was like, look, I'm a Michigan fan. I think he's Ole Miss, right? And she was like, I never want to lose. I want to stack national championships. She's like, I don't want the notoriety. I just want somebody like you to go in with me, and let's go get Bryce Underwood.
Rain is the owner of Yellowwood. He has a net worth of $1.2 billion, so that makes him, I think, the only billionaire in Alabama.
Right?
In
yeah.
the state of Alabama. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, you have Yellowwood here. So I mean, look, in Auburn's recruiting class right now, they're building from in-state. So, I mean, here we are. You got to think, there's millionaires behind the scenes buying stuff here at Alabama. But if you look to guys who left Alabama or that transferred out, you think they're transferring out to go play for a better program or a better brand? Or do you think they're just getting paid more money? I would say that they're getting – that's another poll question, T. How about this one? This poll looks like it's cooked. How about this poll? The players that the players that recently transferred from Alabama, did they transfer because of the following? To go to a better program, faster playing time, Alabama's lack of success this year? Or did they get paid through NIL? Did we get that? Tom, what's up? He's saying hibachi. Yeah, I do the salmon. T did the shrimp. Cheese, eggs, and Welch's grape. Yeah, and Joanne, he, out of all the guys that I do feel that is like locked in, I think it's Keelan Russell because he's probably getting a major deal. And I think he knows that he has an absolute opportunity to be able to start here next year or at least compete for the spot. And he's going to build his brand up with NIL money. I mean, if Milroe's making what he's making, 2.3, I would say between 2.3 and 5 million, I would imagine that Keelan Russell, as a young freshman, partnering up with Ryan Williams, is going to make a lot of cash as well. Charles, dude, you know what's crazy? Is none of these players have proven anything on the field yet.
They can leave after they get that money and still go to another school and get more money.
100%. I heard a rumor alert, okay? I don't want anyone emailing me or texting me, but this is what I heard, okay? Heard what I heard. I'm sure you heard it too. I heard, and I don't know, again, I don't know if this is true. I heard this. I heard that Julian Sain got paid by Alabama to come to Alabama. I heard that Julian Sain kept that money, and then when Saban left, he got paid by Ohio State. So he basically got paid twice. That's just what I heard. Steve's asking, how do people have this kind of money to pay these guys? I don't know. How do people have money to pay for people to hang their Christmas lights? I swear, I'm not kidding you. I guess call me traditional. I am like the guy who goes out and like hangs the Christmas lights on the house. Do it yourself. Yeah, and I like it. I feel, is it professional? And no, it looks nice. I take pride in my work, 100%. But it's not like my house doesn't look like a restaurant. All the houses now in the neighborhood look like restaurants because people are paying for the Christmas lights. No, I don't like that. Look, I get it. If you're maybe like elderly, I don't know. Who's paying for their Christmas lights inside the comment box to get hung up? We got a minute 34 before we're at halftime. We better not have a lot of people buying their Christmas paint. Who has that money?
Kate says he's super chatting $100 if we're ranked above 11.
If what?
If we're ranked above 11. I said I'm going to hold him to it.
All right. Jace Calazario, he flipped today from Michigan State to Alabama. I'm sure you saw it on your recruiting sites. This was expected. He's a 3-star running back. I never get caught up in like the star rankings unless it's like a high level, like 5-star. Then I'm like, oh, it's on. Like a Keelan Russell, I'm super excited about. Caleb Cunningham, I was excited about him. Dejon Lee, excited about him. Guys like that. Other than that, who knows how these players are going to develop? I mean, sometimes it takes them a little bit to get on the field. I like this guy's highlight tape. He's a really talented high school football player. You had to get another running back to come into this class because of the fact that Turbo Rogers flipped to Ohio State.
Sean is saying that Julian was under contract at Bama, but he did get paid, but had to pay it back when he left.
Really?
That's what Sean is saying.
Yeah.
I don't know where they got that information
from. Then that would be the right thing. Can you imagine if you just kept that cash and then got paid again.
You would think they would have to give it back, but I mean, this is all new, so.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, thanks for hitting us up with that. Again, we don't know, so. And I wonder if that was the case like for Caden Proctor.
Mm-hmm.
So, same thing. Caden Proctor, Leroy, no, you're not banned. I can see your nice pup inside the avatar. Caden Proctor went. I'm sure he got paid. Did he have to pay that? I think he kept it. Wasn't their athletic director, didn't he like complain about it? Right? I think I was like AD or something like that was complaining about it. The guard, look, if this is college football's fault. If somebody if it wasn't inside the contract and it's not like written, the guy's like, hey, it doesn't say you have to get. You know what? These schools never thought that this would happen, and now it's like all these things are happening that they didn't even think was possible. We have a minute before we get to the college football playoff rankings. We're just kicking it. We're having a pre-college football kind of round table. These are warning. These are not the rankings or this is not the bracket. This was the bracket last Tuesday. Boise State and BYU, all these teams, man. Ole Miss out, Alabama out, BYU out, 3 teams out. I wanted to show you something real quick before we have 49 seconds. Let's see if I can show you a couple, this quick graphic before the college football rankings come on. When the college football rankings do come, I'll switch to the graphic period. We went over the Alabama football stats and kind of brought those out in detail. Here are Jalen Milroe's grades overall this season from Pro Football Focus. Again, we're almost to the college football playoff rankings. 82.5 against Western Kentucky, 60 against South Florida, 92.2 there at the bottom against LSU, 91.6 against Mercer, and then 68.3 against Oklahoma. See, the misconception is that Jalen Milroe played poor against Vanderbilt. That was not the case. He had a very strong game against Vanderbilt. It was the defense that let Alabama down in that game. It was the defense and Jalen Milroe against Tennessee, and it was the defense and the entire team against Oklahoma. The game against South Florida, the offensive line failed them 100%. The offensive line, and that's been a big catalyst too. Look, so much of this is on Jalen, but so much of this too is on the fact that they have Jalen and this offensive line. It's like, it is what it is. It is what you're seeing. This stat that I bring up right here these are not made up stats. Okay. What I have circled here, and college football playoff rankings next. As soon as they go, I'll go right to the college football playoff rankings. What I circled here is his passing touchdowns, and I scribbled out Mercer. These are just SEC opponents. The last touchdown he threw in SEC play is over here. Is this crazy? October 19th, right? And then you look at the interceptions, right? 2 in SEC play at that same point. It's 8. This adds 8. 3, 2, 2, 1. I mean, he hasn't even so those numbers are telling to me. These numbers are also very telling. You're looking at the Alabama running backs. I know there's a lot of numbers to look at here, but let's just look at Jam Miller. Okay, this is concerning to me, and I've had a big problem with this entire season. The lack of carries that Jam Miller gets. This is sad. Look, he only had 5 against Vandy, 5 against Georgia, 12. And then this is what you're looking at right here. This is just the Saints. 3, 6, 8, 8, 8, 8, 6, 6, 2, 13, 4. 9 carries in the last 2 games. Even against Mercer, he only got 6 carries. Tight end room, you have Dupree. Man, I cannot believe Dupree dropping those passes. I didn't expect that. Tight end number 1, I think, is now Josh Cuevas along with Robbie Oots. Robbie Oots is your blocking H-back, and then Josh Cuevas is like your number. I think but they won't start him at senior night, so they're going to start CJ Dupree. But your best player at the tight end is Josh Cuevas.
Dupree still has 10 more yards than Cuevas, I think.
And Josh Cuevas barely. I mean, look at the snap difference.
But yeah, they had. I'm pretty sure Dupree had more targets and stuff like that too.
Yeah, I mean, look at CJ Dupree has played in 417 snaps, and Josh Cuevas has played in
right.
191. You see what I'm saying? Check this out. I found this interesting. So I drew a line underneath the next wide receiver, and we're 22 seconds from halftime from the college football playoffs. So these are the receivers up top, 42 and 39, and then you have to go all the way down to Kobe Prentice and Kendrick Law and Caleb Odom and Cole Adams in terms of the next receivers that are the leading receivers for Alabama. But Justice Haynes and CJ are next, followed by Jam Miller and Josh Cuevas. Overall, Ryan Williams, 43, 802, been targeted 73 times this year. Dang, 73 targets? And 59 to Jeremy Bernard, and then just 17 to Kobe, 14 to Kendrick Law, 10 to Emmanuel Henderson, 13 to Caleb Odom, 5 to Rico Scott, and 7 to Cole Adams. We need to put it injured on Cole Adams or out for season. Okay, we're just about to get to halftime. Real quick, let's look at the offensive line, and we'll look at this more tomorrow. But look at the grades on the left side of the offensive line, 81.8 down here at the bottom, 84.7, 82.1, 61.0. But look at the right side, okay, 61.0, 42.0. And there's a big snap difference between Elijah Pritchett and Wilcom Formby, 528 and 210. But look at the grades. This is another big issue right here, why Alabama's offense is playing so poor. Right here. That's why I think they need to take a transfer from a transfer tackle right here. All right, so there's 13. You know how the last few minutes of a basketball game is, and we'll show more stats tomorrow on our Wednesday show. I also wanted to start thinking about this, okay? Get this in your mind. And T, can you get the picture so you can put it up? I also wanted to do this, okay? So start thinking about this. These are not the rankings. These are last week's rankings. When the rankings are updated, I'll tell you when the rankings are updated. Okay, so start thinking about this, and you can put some early thoughts inside the comment box. T, this is for you too. Okay, this is for everybody. Okay, so your starting 5. Your starting 5 for your Thanksgiving plate. Okay, like your starting 5 basketball team. Like the first 5 things off the table that you're adding on to your plate. So starting 5. Okay. What are some early ones off the board? I mean, of course. I mean, for me, mashed potatoes and gravy. But the crazy thing is, we're just about halftime. There's 8 seconds left. And I know unless you're from New Mexico, you're gonna think this is absolutely crazy. We don't put gravy on the mashed potatoes. Look.
I saw it that last weekend.
It's red chili.
It was the wildest thing I've ever
We put
seen.
red chili on our mashed potatoes.
Why did you just put on your potatoes? Was that a mistake? I thought you were like.
Hey Charles,
Oh my God.
The Maui Invitational just went to halftime. So college football playoffs coming up next. These are not the official rankings. Rocking the Coke Zero.
Yeah, chili on mashed potatoes is something I had never seen before.
Little Santa Claus up in here. Let's see. Who else? What are they saying early?
Green bean casserole, mac and cheese.
Rolls. Oh, rolls. Yeah.
We've got mac and cheese. We have green beans. We're going to have dressing. Sweet potato casserole. We're going to have mashed potatoes. Ham. No turkey this year. And deviled eggs.
Let's see. Anyone cooking a turkey? Are we? Yeah, no, the rankings should be coming up right next. Like, if you're on ESPN, Bino's like, what? Chili. It's red chili on your mashed potatoes. I know, but this is like it's a thing. Deer? Are you serious? Damn. No, I don't. I'm going to switch to the Bama game after this because I'm watching, and I don't have the dual screens set up yet. Bama props. I know. I'm going to do that. Banana pudding sounds dope. Here we go. Yes, I've been to Trinidad, Colorado. Yeah, I have. It's right next to Raton. Raton and Trinidad play for the Coal Bucket. I appreciate it, man. Thanks, Charles. That's what's up. Green bean casserole. Oh, my goodness. You find somebody who makes good green bean casserole, you keep them close. No, I'm serious. You talk nice to them because a good green bean casserole, I'm just saying, that's serious stuff.
I got to make Kyle a green bean casserole.
Yeah, yo, no, I'm serious. Or like, that's the same thing with like, they're doing the rankings right now. And when this is up, this is not the updated rankings. When we have those, we'll bring them to you. Same thing with sweet potatoes.
Hey, what slide do you want it in?
If you could just replace this slide, that'd be great. Same thing with sweet potatoes. But mashed potatoes is important. I think that's definitely my starting five. I'll think more about my starting five, my Thanksgiving plate. Here's the committee. It's a room full of people that decide the fate of the college football world. No other sport is decided like this. It's crazy. Can you imagine if the NFL was done like this? It's crazy. Greg McElroy up at the table. Booger McFarland got the whole crew as they roll through the top 25. So what they usually do is they go through the top 25 rankings and then they do the seedings. It should just be the same thing. They should just rank the teams and put them in the bracket, but they don't. So it's a 12-team bracket this year. The 4 conference champions from the Power 4 have to make it and get quarterfinal buys. And it could be a group of 5. So the highest ranked group of 5 could also be in the quarterfinals. Read more about it. Watch about it. I've been learning myself. I feel I have a pretty good understanding. I thought that the quarterfinals at one point would be at the home site. They're not. The quarterfinal games are the New Year's 6 bowl games. James Richardson, what's up, man? We got a Georgia fan up in here. Ace, what's up? GP, he's like, Booger hates Bama. Sal, what's up? James Richards, I appreciate the optimism. Brandon, what's going on, man? Need some yams. Wow. And you know what? I'm about to say something about the Thanksgiving. They haven't started the rankings yet. And look, I've always had cranberries, like the cranberry sauce, out of the can.
Me too.
Right? Like, does that mean I'm like I don't know what that means.
I've had fresh cranberry sauce prepared, like homemade cranberry sauce, right? And I did not like it.
No,
I want the canned jelly stuff.
Yeah. The can, and you put it out, and then and then you put it on a plate to make it look a little bit more fancy. All right, here come the rankings right here. T, if you could type these out as fast as you can. Number 25 is Colorado after losing. Number 24 is Kansas State. And Colorado, I figured, would have fell in the rankings considering they just lost to Kansas. Number 23 is Illinois with the 8-3 record. See, these are all these teams that have 8-3 records that could have somehow passed Alabama at some point in time. Colorado dropped 9 spots from losing. That's interesting. Let's keep that in mind. UNLV up 2 spots. Man, if Colorado dropped 9 spots, that is wild. Candace the GOAT. See, that's what I'm talking about. Number 21 is Missouri. That team certainly declined with the with their quarterback being banged up. I think he's back in action. Number 20 is Texas A&M, who is down 5 spots. They are now number 20, also with an 8-3 record. Right, this was another team that had an opportunity to jump the Crimson Tide. Number 19 Hey, thanks, Lisa, for the assistance out of the comment box. We appreciate you. Number 19 is BYU, down 5 spots. Whoa, these teams that lost are being punished.
I don't know. We're not looking good.
Jim Montana, the brother to Joe Montana, has 13 for us, probably. Damn. Yeah. Yo, these teams are, you don't lose late. Number 18, Iowa State, 9-2. Iowa State still has an opportunity to play for the Big 12 championship game. Coach Prime upset with Travis Hunter not being for the Thorpe Award. Tulane, the Green Wave at number 17. We're getting closer. Number 16, Arizona State. 9-2. These are all the 9-2 teams. You get ready for the photo. Number 15, South Carolina. I got that, T. Ooh, we doubled up. 15, South Carolina. Number 14. Here we go. Put on the music, the violin music. Where is it going to be? Number 14 is Ole Miss. Heart starts to race. His arms are sweaty. Knees weak. Mom spaghetti. He's nervous. But on the surface, he looks calm and ready to drop bombs. But he keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. Number 13. Number 13 is, hit the commercial, Alabama.
She beat Auburn, though?
Well, this is interesting. So you have the Alabama Crimson Tide at one spot out. So you had, So there is a glimmer. And you know what they're doing? What they are doing is they're saying, can you play your best football to get in? Okay, so that's exactly what they're telling us right now. They're saying, look, Alabama, if you can play championship level football, you have a shot. Number 12 is Clemson. Okay. And see, this is, I told you, I already told you guys that it's going to come down to, Alabama's down 6 spots, but what it's going to come down to is the number 4 team in the SEC, which right now is Alabama. Should they beat Auburn? Now, I don't even know if they can beat Auburn. I think we all are on the same page about that. But if they can, it's going to come down to the ACC number 2 in Alabama. Now, I would imagine that they have SMU, Clemson, and Miami all in the tournament bracket. There's no way that 3 teams from the ACC make the tournament. Bino, I think you're right, man. Win and you're in. Number 11, Boise. Now, remember, this is, you know what? This is important. We're talking rankings right now. We haven't talked about seedings. So there's a big difference between them seeding the teams and ranking. So let's hold on. We're talking just the rankings right now. So these are the rankings, but these are not the seedings. GP's like, Kyle, what do we think about the Big 12 champ getting the 12 spots come selection? I know. That's what's unfair about the current playoffs is because you have, where's Arizona State, right? They're like, what were they? 19 or something like that? And with a team like that being able to get into the playoff, they're number 16. You see what I'm saying? That's where this playoffs does not make sense. Number 10 is Indiana. And again, these are the rankings. The rankings are not the bracket. It's so confusing how they do this. Number 9 is SMU. a team that is not lost in the ACC, and a team that's fun to watch. They have clinched the ACC to play for the championship. You know what? They play Cal. Cal can sometimes punch above their belt. And you know what? Ace brings up a really good point right here. You need South Carolina to beat Clemson. And I think that could certainly happen. That Clemson-South Carolina game is going to be fantastic. Number 8, you got Tennessee. Again, not the seedings, just the rankings. Hey, Bo, who has the number 77th strength of schedule? Is that SMU? That's crazy if that goes with SMU. Number 7. Who will it be? Tyler's like, Bama don't need to make the playoffs. They trash. Georgia at the number 7 spot. Bo, that's crazy. 77th strength of schedule for SMU. So the things that don't make sense to me are they don't value strength of schedule and they don't value like the conference strength, right? Why even be in a conference? The best thing to do is to drop out of the conference and play like a schedule like Notre Dame. If Alabama played Notre Dame's schedule, no, think about, do you hear what I just said? Alabama plays Notre Dame's schedule, they're like number 1. Number 6 is Miami. Everybody's getting excited about the 13 ranking, but we don't know where they're at in the actual bracket. Maybe they could be in the bracket. I don't know. Hey, thanks, Lisa, for helping out. 6 Miami, 7 Georgia, 8 is Tennessee, 9 is SMU, and 10 is Indiana in the rankings. Coming up next, 5 through 1, Notre Dame at number 5. Remember, I told you my crazy scenario. So Alabama gets in at 12 and has to go to South Bend at number 5. I said that. Lance is saying the dream scenario is Indiana loses to Purdue. I don't know. That's an in-state game. The South Carolina Clemson one, right? Battle for South Carolina. That's a rivalry game. Penn State's at number 4. Again, it's not the seedings. Number 3 is Texas. Number 2 is Ohio State. And number 1 is Oregon. All right, so those are the rankings of the teams. Now they're going to put these teams into the playoff bracket and showcase how the bracket looks. So, T, this is what I'd like you to get a photo of when they have the bracket complete. And they have Alabama as the second team out. So let's see how they put the teams within the bracket, and that will give us an idea. So Alabama is not in the bracket, which we understand. They're ranked 13th, and they're the second team out behind Clemson. So you are 1,000,000%. We are all watching Clemson and South Carolina. And remember, there you go, T, right there. Or hold on, they'll update the next view. So I'm going to bring an updated look at the graphic in just 2 seconds. And remember, the bracket still has to be updated. There you go, T, that one right there. The bracket still has to be updated following the championships, right? So where are they going to put these teams? So look, there's a lot of football left, and we've seen before this happen. What's up, Tyler? I appreciate you being here. Coming up in about 2 seconds, T's going to put the updated graphic on the screen of the playoff bracket, and we'll chop it up. We'll try to put some of it into perspective. But look, being 13 right now, they're giving Alabama an opportunity to play their way in, 1,000,000%. Clemson's got a very tall task playing one of the hottest teams in college football in South Carolina. Lisa with an update inside the comment box. Alabama basketball 21, Houston 21. That game is on TBS. And you got to think that the ACC plays a large role in what happens to Alabama, right? 3 teams from the ACC are not going to make the tournament when all said and is done. So it's going to come down, just like I had predicted, to the ACC number 2 versus Alabama should they win against Auburn. Now, this is rat poison, and we've been rat poisoned before. I was very vocal last week saying that Alabama would beat Oklahoma. They didn't. They didn't even score a touchdown. Okay? So the bracket's coming up here in about 2 seconds. Then we'll break it down. I appreciate you guys being here. Kyle Anderson, Bama Football on YouTube. Are you surprised with the bracket right now? You know, they could have penalized Alabama a lot worse than they did. But the problem is that all those teams behind Alabama also lost. Do we update it? Oh, okay. So this is an updated look right now at the freshest take of the college football playoff bracket. Okay. Give me 1 second. We'll break it down real fast. Break them. Here's a look at the latest college football playoff bracket. Now you have the number 1 seed as the Oregon Ducks. Number 2 is the Texas Longhorns. Number 3 is Miami. Number 4 is Boise State. The 5th team in the playoff bracket is Ohio State. They would be taking on number 12, Arizona State, who is the Big 12 champ. The number 8 spot, you have Georgia taking on Tennessee in an SEC rematch. Number 11 would be Indiana taking on Penn State. Each team is 10-1, and you would have SMU traveling to South Bend to take on Notre Dame. Each of those teams is 10-1. Now let's point out a couple things right now. The Alabama Crimson Tide is the 2nd team out in the latest college football bracket. Now what that means is we're watching the Clemson versus South Carolina matchup this coming weekend, right? And keep in mind that we have to also see who the overall champ is going to be from the ACC. And then I think what happens is the seeding committee has to figure out, number 1, did Alabama get its you-know-what together and beat Auburn, and how did they play in that game? And they are going to have to hold that resume right next to the number 2 team from the ACC. I've been talking about this for a long time, that I still think Alabama has a shot to get in. It's a glimmer of hope, but they are going to give Alabama one last opportunity to play their way into the college football playoff bracket. Right now, Alabama is the 2nd team out, being at number 13. So what do you guys think of the college football playoff rankings? Are you surprised to see Alabama at 13? I'm really not. I think that pretty much all of us on this board knew that Alabama would be somewhere around that point, right? And you're right. See, T saying it's the best case scenario. 1,000,000%. I mean, let's put it up full screen right now. Alabama basketball also in action on TBS. Here is the bracket in its full glory. I appreciate it. Who'd we get a super chat from?
Case.
All right, Case. Appreciate it. Go ahead. Read it out. I can't see anything on
He
this
says,
side.
if Alabama beats Auburn big, book your tickets because TV networks will make sure Alabama plays Notre Dame. That's TV gold.
100%.
For sure. Yeah.
All right. Let's go through this real quick and kind of make sense of it. 3, 2, 1. The college football playoff bracket has just been released on ESPN. Alabama is the 2nd team out currently, as you can see on the bottom left, after Clemson. I've explained this many different times. Alabama still has an opportunity to get into the college football playoffs. And what the bracket is going to allow Alabama to do, and the seeding committee, I should say, is play its best football game of the season against the Auburn Tigers in the Iron Bowl. Alabama is 11.5-point favorite coming off a miserable performance against Oklahoma. Alabama has played a really tough schedule this year. Alabama didn't play its best football, only scoring 3 points. So you see that Alabama could have been penalized a lot worse than what they were. You see teams like Colorado fall way in the rankings. You see other teams like BYU continue to creep down to the rankings. But Alabama still with the opportunity to get into the college football playoffs. Now, we're watching Clemson. We're watching South Carolina. That game is taking place this weekend, right? You also have Indiana, who's taking on Purdue. I think Indiana goes ahead and does whatever they want against the Boilermakers. And then some other teams that in the first round, they have to be in the playoffs because they are a conference champ. And I think that's one of the biggest areas where this bracket fails, is the fact that teams from championship teams from the conferences make the playoff bracket when the conferences are not created equal. For example, Arizona State, they get into the first round by winning, theoretically, the Big 12. Where would that team be in the SEC? Where would they be in the Big 10? Could Arizona State even win the ACC? I don't know. SMU, a team that just joined the ACC, has not lost a game, and credit to them for having an amazing season, but they have, and this is from Roland inside the comment box, their strength of schedule, number 77 in the entire country, okay? Alabama is 3-1 against top 25 teams. Now, I know what you're going to say. Alabama has also lost against 2 unranked opponents. Well, you know who else has lost against 2 unranked opponents? A lot of teams. For example, Ole Miss, they've lost to unranked teams. Kentucky and Florida. BYU, they've lost 2 in a row. Texas A&M, they lost to South Carolina. They lost to Auburn. Colorado, Nebraska, and Kansas. Okay, so what's going to happen is Alabama will be heavily judged against how they perform against Auburn in all facets of the game. And it is terrifying to think that they will be judged on offense, defense, Jalen Miro, everything when their starting inside linebacker is out the remainder of however many games Alabama has. When Alabama couldn't stop the run against Oklahoma, how are you going to stop it without Deontay Lawson? I don't know. Hugh Freeze scares all of us, right? When I looked at this bracket overall, things that stand out to me as well is like the Mountain West Conference, a group of 5 having a quarterfinal bye in the New Year's 6. Did you know that Boise State and Wyoming were tied at halftime this past week? Okay, they were tied at halftime. I ask this every week. How are we feeling about Oregon? Are we feeling that Oregon is a true contender, or do you think they are a pretender? Sound off, please, inside the comment box. I'm not even going to ask you the same question about Miami because I don't know if Miami is even going to beat Syracuse. And that's another team we're watching. It could come down to, hear me out, maybe even a Miami or Alabama for that last spot in the college football playoffs. Let's say Miami beats Syracuse. They lose to SMU. You have Miami with 2 losses going against Alabama with 3 losses. You know, call me crazy. I just feel that Ohio State is going to win the big conference. A lot of people saying contender inside the comment box. They put together a quality season. Of course, remember their big victory over Ohio State in Eugene way back earlier in the season. I'm not going to lie. There's some interesting matchups that I would like to see in this first round. We already saw one of them, Georgia and Tennessee. I think Georgia is probably playing some of their best football at this point in time. A lot of it, just like Alabama, depends on their quarterback play. And let's be honest, Carson Beck hasn't been that, right? Indiana and Penn State, I still think the big conference is overvalued. These teams didn't play a lot of high-level competition, but here we stand. Penn State barely beat Minnesota. 26-25. They weren't punished. Indiana, Ohio State took it to them. That's their only loss on the season. They only played 1 top 25 team this year, and they only lost 1 game. And then there's Notre Dame. I still feel down in my heart that there is this scheme, the script, the playoff script. I still feel in my heart that when this is all said and done, that Alabama is going to be at that number 12 spot and Notre Dame is going to be at that 5 spot. Or the 6 and the 11. But I could see somehow Ohio State beating Oregon, right? So Ohio State would have to get the quarterfinal spot. Oregon goes to 6. Notre Dame goes to 5. Alabama to 12. Alabama versus Notre Dame in the first round at 5-12. And then Alabama beating Notre Dame in what would be a TV masterpiece. Raise your hand inside the comment box right now if you would be elated to play Notre Dame in the first round in South Bend. And I'm sure there's some of you inside the comment box that would be a bucket list to go to in terms of going to watch a college football playoff game in South Bend underneath Touchdown Jesus. And guess what would happen? Alabama. Look, I said this before, but I think Alabama would beat Notre Dame. I do. And then you got to think Alabama versus Boise State. Well, surely they got to be able to beat a Mountain West team. So then, I mean, are we talking now semifinals? Look, it's obviously really easy to get excited about the playoffs. But it's all rat poison because this team that stands in front of Alabama is voodoo. And Hugh Freeze, this guy can coach. This is a rivalry game. I showed you the stats before. Auburn has the edge on Alabama in a lot of different areas. They do. They can run the football. They can stop the run. We all know what's going to happen. Jalen Milroe is either going to be feasting or it's going to be famine. And I don't know which Jalen Milroe that shows up, but last year it was the Jalen Milroe that absolutely cooked. And he threw a 4th and 1, which was one of the greatest college football plays of all time. I think you go to bed and you're feeling pretty good right now. But you have to keep in mind, Auburn awaits on Saturday. And I think while it's exciting, the reality is Auburn's going to come with it. And Auburn is playing their absolutely best football of the season. Okay, so one more time, okay? Let's go can we go to the Alabama basketball game? One last time inside the comment box. How you feeling about Alabama making the playoffs on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being like we're back, or are you feeling like a little sus about it, like a 6, a 5? Alabama basketball right now. In action on TBS, where they trail currently trail Houston by a score of 30-29. There is 2 minutes and 54 seconds left in this game. Talking a little Alabama basketball real quick. If you want to hop over to TBS and watch this game. Little game detail for you. Alabama currently led by Grant Nelson, who has 5. Leading scorer is actually Mo Diabate and Aiden Holloway, who has 7. Diabate has 8. Holloway has 7. Let me just check this real quick. 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, no chance. All right. Looks like Bama Fan for Life just got in. So the path is this. Win. And maybe you're in. All right? Give me 1 second. 1 second, fam. All right, you can go ahead, T. We're multitasking over here. So look, there's a lot. Look, at the end of the day, too. This will be my last thing. At the end of the day, this is all about money, right? Every single thing functions off money in the college football world. It's a business, like a lot of other things. And I think the fact is, and the committee's going to have to come to grips with this. That look, Alabama against SMU, let's just say, head to head. I think that's a resume where you could go either or on because of the strength of schedule, the fact that Alabama played in the SEC. And then I think the second layer to this is the overall brand and the overall TV ratings. And is it unfair that it comes down to that? I don't know. I mean, that's up for debate. You know, the truth of the matter is Alabama is what people want to see. They want to see them win and they want to see them lose because they either love Alabama or they hate Alabama. And that's just it. So let me close your eyes and think about this, right? Real quick. What is the bigger draw? What's because when I say this, something will happen in your mind. All right, next up we have SMU taking on Notre Dame. Next up we have Alabama taking on Notre Dame. See what I'm saying? It already makes your ears perk up. Arizona State taking on Ohio State. Alabama taking on Ohio State. See what I'm saying? So all conferences are not created equal. All brands are not equal. Tune into that basketball game. It's just about halftime. Get comfy, kick it. Come back and hang out tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. I'll be on live, and we'll break down the rest of the season. Oh, and be thinking about your starting five for Thanksgiving. Starting five for Thanksgiving. Like, what are the first 5 items you're putting on the plate? Okay? I love you guys. Call line open tomorrow. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I'm grateful for you guys. Thank you for seeing the best of me. I see the best in you guys. Be good people. Enjoy the rest of your night. Be good people right here on this earth. I love you guys. Thank you very much for joining the show tonight. Catch up with you soon. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama.